What's up, YouTube? It's Artisan MC, and forgive my attire, but it is a hot day in California, hot smoky day, and I put on a sweatshirt today. Big mistake. With no shirt. So I'm out here trying to go get this trial for work tomorrow, but I just got off a call with my mother and my brother. And it was a good call. It was a really good call. It started with me and my mother talking about how some of this crazy stuff with his sisters are looking out here. And she was repeating some of the stuff that had been said on Kevin Samuel's show about women not being able to critique other women on how they look, how crazy they look, how they acting with these children and stuff, out of fear of can't say nothing to these women. And I had to laugh about it because I've heard it before, but I had to tell my mother. My mother's in her 60s, she's a boomer, right? So I had to tell her, it's like, we can't tell them nothing either. Shit, it's y'all job. You need to get the congregation of the sisterhood to get together, get that delegation together, and get some act right. Propose a petition to act right with these sisters. Right? So it's a funny call at some points. But then my brother called, and my mother linked him into the call. Now my brother is 3 years older than me. Or not older, 3 years younger than me. I'm the oldest. And we got into this three-way conversation about world, dating, politics, what we ended up on with this Afghanistan situation. And for me, it was a really interesting conversation in the sense that there's very few times in my adult life, I think, that me, my brother, and my mother have had a conversation with each other as adults or equals in some way. And I just say equals in the sense that we're all talking as thinking, cognitive fucking adults, analyzing the world around us and sharing our stories and experiences and our viewpoint on things. Now, it was really interesting when we talked about marriage, and my mother got to say why she would not and has not ever been married. I got to speak on my part about having been married and would possibly want to be married again. My brother got to talk about why he has backed out of being married a few times and what he wouldn't do and how he sees the relationship and what's not working. And for me, I'm involved in the conversation, but in the back of my mind, subconsciously, I'm stepping back and taking note and witnessing what I'm actually involved in, which is a conversation of adults about situations. Although one of the adults in the conversation is the parent of the other two, it's still an open exchange conversation, and everybody is talking and listening to each other. For me, I say in the family dynamic sense, that's us coming a long way with dealing with each other, because mostly we may talk and have conversations like this as one-offs. My mother talking to my brother, me talking to my mother, me talking to my brother, that kind of thing. It's always maybe one way. It's never really all three of us at the same time having a conversation and all being heard. But it was interesting to see, although my mother has raised both of us by herself, it's interesting to see the different perspectives that all three of us have on the idea of marriage, how marriage is supposed to work. For my mother, she don't want nobody telling her what to do with her money. She don't. I understand the situation is that she don't want to have to listen to no damn man. My brother understands it as mama don't want to give up that control like that over money, and money is not altogether important like that. You shouldn't have somebody put you in a poorhouse, but you're not taking none of this shit with you. So money is there to be used. Now, we came down similar on some things, but that point in and of itself was a bit more interesting because I understand that out of the three of us, I am the more traditional of the group, because I still believe that, you know, the man should be the head of the family and take care of all this stuff, and the woman should be listening to him. She should. Now, if the husband and wife agree that maybe the wife is better with managing the money than the husband is, then that's what can get delegated to the wife to do. But the husband is still in charge. It ain't all about the damn money. Mother don't see it that way. She don't want nobody telling her what to do with her money and making no mistakes with her money when she can't go back and earn it again. So this proves something that's said in the manosphere a lot, is that women live in a scarcity mindset. There is no time to go and make it again. So there isn't enough money. All right? My brother's coming at it from a male mind state, like shit, you just work and you earn some more money, and that's what it is. He's not coming at it from the scarcity mindset. He's coming at it that your time is the scarcity. And that money or no, you're going to be living. So you need to exactly live and enjoy your life, because you're not taking this goddamn money with you. And once you're gone, it don't matter who's left behind. You leave it to whoever you want to leave it to, and they're going to do whatever the hell they want with it anyway. So it don't matter. Right? Enjoy your life while you're here with the money you have, and don't be putting all the weight on that. Now, my state of mind on it is money is important to do the things that I want to do, but I don't put an overemphasis on money like that. And this is where I noticed that me and my brother were the same in some ways on that, because I never heard him articulate that. But it's because our mother put a lot of emphasis on money. She did. But she's a single woman, and she was corporate. Of course she put a lot of emphasis on money, because money was her freedom. Money kept her from having to listen to a man and not being dependent upon a man to survive. She didn't want that. Now, the other part that was interesting to me personally was getting to tell my mother and my brother about a couple of the escapades that I had been through in my single dating life post divorce and after my last lady, right? That they've met her. So it was kind of funny to have this conversation with my mother and my brother, because I don't talk about sex or my relationships or any of that shit with my mother. You know, I got bad information from her on things, and she was involved in some shit with my divorce that I wasn't okay with. So we don't have that kind of relationship where I'm talking about my goddamn relationships with her. I'll share some anecdotes or something like that I've learned from dating, but they don't know dating stories. And me and my brother don't talk about that shit at all, really. So telling a couple of the stories of knowing that there's warning signs there when you're dating somebody and that the situation is not going to work, it made me laugh to no end to find out that my brother had been through some of the same shit and reacted the same way. And one of which was dealing with a woman who's acting a bit crazy or off and having to leave her house leaving her house in the middle of the night for your own betterment. And the story my brother told me is him driving at 3 o'clock in the morning with the windows down, trying to stay awake, and he's driving from where he was to where he stays. It was like an hour and a half. It's a long trip. And he made that trip on purpose in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to keep himself awake because the woman he was with was acting too crazy. And I'm laughing my ass off about it because I'm telling him a story about doing exactly the same thing with one of my exes. Doing exactly the same thing. Like, she is acting crazy. I am the fuck out of here. Let me get up and put these clothes on. She bitching. I don't care. I'm the fuck out of here. 2 o'clock in the morning doing the same shit. Now, while I'm laughing about this, I can only imagine what my mother is thinking. Because, truthfully, I know for me, she's never heard this story. I don't know if she's ever heard that story from my brother or not. But that shit is hilarious to think about. It's like, to tell her, this is the world that your sons are in. This is the people that we have to deal with. These are the women that are out here in this space and what we have to navigate as men, trying to find some happiness or find somebody we can deal with or be with. This is what we have to deal with. So a lot of this stuff about how women act and stuff like that, no, we can't control them either. And if you can't control them, then what the hell? Because if a woman can't talk to a woman about checking her behavior, and a man can't talk to a woman about checking her behavior, we're gonna check her, boo. I guess the police, right? So that was interesting. The last part comes in, since I like doing things in threes, the last part comes into political. Now, politically, my mother is a Democrat, and we were raised Democrat, or liberal, whatever you want to call it. But as I got older, I moved away from that because I saw the bullshit. So for me, I'm more libertarian independent, if you want to call it that, right? I do have some conservative views, I do have some liberal views, but mostly I understand the government is bullshit. It is a puppet show, and I am not a kid. So you have to understand what's going on with these politicians and not just rah-rah for the team that they telling you on the news that you need to be cheering for. This is not sports. I don't watch sports like that. I don't get into huge amounts of tribalism like that. I don't. I critically think, and I make up my own mind on the shit that I'm seeing. And if it don't make any sense to me, I'm not riding with it. I don't give a fuck what color of the banner. I don't care about the mascot. None of that. It don't matter to me. I'm looking at it as a normal person, the regular populace out here who's gonna have to deal with whatever goofy shit these people is doing up in these state houses. It's gonna fall down on me. So my brother, although I don't believe at all he is liberal or Democrat, don't believe that at all. I wouldn't say he's conservative or anything like that either. He has some views, but I don't know what they are. But from the gist of what I get in the conversation that we were having, is that he don't necessarily trust politicians either, but he is more the type of person to look at the behind the scenes stuff that these motherfuckers do. Like, my brother was the first person who ever told me about Neely Fuller. Excuse me, Dr. Neely Fuller. He's the first one who ever told me about Dr. Neely Fuller. And he listened to him. And recently, in like this year or so, I found out that my brother actually listens to some people in the manosphere. He does. Now, in talking about this Afghanistan situation, my brother echoed some of the same sentiments that came up last night on Black Artists on the Spot on Art New Styles channel that AL was making about all the foreigners or the refugees coming from Afghanistan that come here. He just wants them to respect the people who helped build this country when they get here, being the black people, and don't come here with their nose turned up talking disrespectfully to the black people who are here because all of a sudden they think they better than us now. His idea, which made me laugh a lot, is that if they believe that they're the talent in the world and things are so wonderful where they are, then they should fucking stay there. They should stay there. Why are you jumping on the side of the planes to come over here? What the fuck? Seems like you should be fighting for your country. And that was my point. My point was, look, you don't want the Americans there. You wanted us out. We'll leave. Why are you trying to run away? Fight. It's your country, right? Now, that's me with little of no knowledge of this Afghanistan situation, of exactly the politics that's going on, what happened with the Taliban coming in or whatever. But some of what I was getting from the conversation I'm having with my mother and brother is that the Taliban is coming in and kicking out that Americanism shit. No nail salons, no hair salons, none of that bullshit. And that the reason you see all these people hanging on planes mostly is mostly fucking men. They're leaving the women there. Now, we got jokes, but it's more them, what it seems like from what I'm hearing, it's more of the Taliban coming in and reinforcing what that country was beforehand and kicking out all that Western ideals. They don't want that shit. They want to keep their country the way it was. Now, I said this before and I reiterated it to my mother and my brother, is that in some ways I understand some of these Taliban with not wanting the same dysfunction that we see here in the West, in the Americas, not wanting that shit over in their country. I don't blame them at that point. I don't blame them. We don't want it here. We don't. That is like our main export right now. Dysfunctional bullshit. Now, I can imagine taking that and introducing it to a society that never saw it, never had it there. And if I can see how it changes this culture for the worst, what do you think you're going to put into those cultures that are still behind us century-wise in ideals? I think they'd be willing to fight for that shit, against it. I think they'd be willing to die for that shit, against it. That's why I say I understand it. A little. I understand why they go that damn hard. Now, does the refugees hanging on the outside of planes and stuff like that look stupid? Yes. It looks very crazy. But from the point my brother was making, it must not be that damn good there, because you must want to leave real damn bad. So don't be talking that shit when you get over here. Now, the point my mother was making about how it was past administrations and it was Trump and stuff like that, and the stuff that he did in Afghanistan, I can't speak to that shit, because look, like I said, I need to get more abreast on the situation and understand the politics of what was happening and what led to what is happening and exactly what the fuck is happening right now, right? Because I don't know. So I'm operating in the dark a little bit. But from my brother's standpoint, he's like, this shit must have been pretty easy. It's like, they said, like they planned a revolution. Like this shit was already over. Like we going in at 9. We should be wrapped up about 10:30, and then we get lunch. And I'm like, what is it? Revolution by the numbers? Like he sound like this shit happened really quickly, really easily. My thinking was that's what happens when you kind of try to feminize your society. That's how easily you can get ran over. And have all your men running away and not standing up to fight. My icy because it's hot. So, all in all, it was an interesting conversation. Interesting enough to where I wanted to share it with you guys. And the point that I want to share with you guys before I get too long in this is that talking is beneficial. Talking to your family can be beneficial. And it may not happen all the time. It may not happen as planned, that you guys just sat down and like, we're going to have a real conversation. It won't happen like that. But cherish those moments that you have when you can talk with your family, talk about real world issues and your experiences, and not have that shit be all contentious. Because one of the things I hear now from my mother that shows that we have come, and I say we as us as a family, me, her, and my brother, have come a long way since before she had her episode a couple years back, is that she acknowledges a lot more than her missteps. She acknowledges her missteps a lot more. Now that could just be age, or it could be what she's been through to understand that you ain't been doing everything on the up and up. And some of what she said about her dating life when she was younger and why she wasn't getting married, she wasn't making good choices with men. And I was saying that just for the ones I knew about. From what she was saying, there's a lot of situations that she's lucky to have survived. Chasing the bad boys. Okay, I take mama word for it. She don't need to elaborate today. But it's enough to be said that she even said that to us at all. Because normally, it's just a blank slate when it came to mama dating. If they didn't show up to the house, you don't know what the fuck she was doing. No, she don't talk about it. It ain't your business. So, just having a conversation where we're able to share our mating and dating situations and struggles was a monumentous day for us, in my opinion. But that's what it is. But you need to talk to your family. When you get old enough to have your own space, you need to try to open that dialogue to where you can have conversations with even your most adversarial parent. All you got is the people that you checked into this life with. That's all you got. So you need to at least understand each other. If you can't respect each other, then respect each other's space. But you at least need to understand where each other are coming from. And I think in the black community, that is one of our failings, is that we don't try to understand each other at all. We always try to tell each other what we are, but we never want to understand who the other person is by them just explaining themselves in their own words. So I'm going to end this with just saying, although my mother was not perfect, she did not do everything right, and I can trace some of my dysfunction back to her, still love the hell out of her. It's just what the fuck it is. It's my mother. Still love her. She did some fucked up shit to me. She has. She did some shit that is absolutely reprehensible to me. But I'll get over it and charge it to the game and get myself some fucking therapy. As far as my brother, we don't always see eye to eye. We don't. But that's my brother. Love him to death. Love him to death. So that nothing is going to change that. And what I can say I'm more happy about, from seeing him as a little big head kid with the afro to seeing the man that he is now and how he talks and how he's fathering his son, I really appreciate and admire what my brother has grown into, the man that he has grown into, from the little irritating kid he was. And I was the one trying to protect his ass. So to see who he is now, it's a big switch. So that's it. I love them both and really appreciate that conversation that I had with them. So right now, got to get up in this cheapo depot to get me a trowel for tomorrow so I can do some tiling, use some of those other skills that I got. But for now, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.